Okay, what we are going to do now for the next few minutes is we're going to look over functions, right? So functions will appear on paper 1 of the Leaving Cert Ordinary Level paper, right? So functions are maths equations which basically, they're like rules which for each output, there is only one input, right? So each input will give you one output, or each output only has one input. Either way you want to take it, okay? In terms of words and terms that will come up in your exam questions, domain are the values that you put into your function. In other words, they're your x's, right? They will be from the horizontal axis of your graph. Your range are your values out. So in other words, they're your y's, the vertical axis of your graph. Codomain is a term which refers to any possible outcomes. So it could be anything that you will find on the y-axis. So for example, if they told you you've got natural numbers, but your graph shows reals as well. Do you know what I mean? All right. So f of x is your function. It's one way of writing the term. You can write it as f with brackets and x. You can have an f with 2 dots and an x. You can have, they can just call it y either. They're all referring to exactly the same thing. So if they give you it in the form of f with a bracket and x, what you basically do is you plug in the value for your x instead of the x in your rule, right? So when I'm saying that, it sounds like it makes sense, but it's easier to show you with an example. So if we had a question and the question said, let me just move this for a sec, right? It gave you 2 rules. It said you had some function called f of x, which gave you 6x minus 3. And you had a different function, which was called g of x, which gave you 10 minus 2x. Right, so they're different rules. So if it tells us to do something with f, you use this rule. In other words, you multiply the number by 6 and take 3 away from it. And if they give you a g, you are going to multiply the number by 2 and then take it away from 10. Right, so if, for example, they have f bracket 2, right, that means you're going to plug 2 in where the x was. So instead of writing x, you will write 6 bracket 2 minus 3. The brackets mean multiply, so you go 6 times 2, which gives you 12. Take away 3, which gives you 9. Right, if they wanted to be mean and mess with your heads, they could have f bracket 7x. So 7x is in the bracket, so this time, everywhere there's an x, you are going to write down 7x. So you'll go 6 bracket 7x minus 3. Multiply your 6 by your 7, and you get 42x, take away 3. Okay? If they again want to keep doing stuff with you, they will give you different forms. They'll combine your 2 rules, so they can have f of g of x, which is the same as written as f with a little o, g of x. In terms of what you're to do the g of x bit first because that's closest to the x. In other words, it's furthest to the right. And then you plug your answer, you plug its value back into f of x. So if, for example, using the rule from up here, right, f after g of x says we are going to plug g of x into f of x. So this is our f of x rule. We have 6x minus 3, so we're going to plug the g of x in instead of the x. So when we do that, we get 6 bracket 10 minus 2x minus 3. Multiply it out. Your 6 by 10 gives you 60. Your 6 by minus 2 gives you minus 12x. Minus your 3, and then you tidy it up. So your answer for f after g of x will be 57 minus 12x. If they told you you wanted g of f of 2, your method would be to get the f of 2 first, and then put your answer into the g formula. So f of 2, we worked it out earlier up here, was equal to 9. So g of 9 is equal to 10 minus 2 times 9. Alright, so instead of writing down the x, you write down 9. Multiply it out, you get 10 minus 18, and you get minus 8. So in terms of functions again, a function, we'll bring this back down, a function is some maths equation where there is only one output for every input. Right? It can be written according to whatever letter they want. It can be F's, it can be G's, it can be H's, it can be A's, it can be B's. Right? But the number in the brackets is the number you're going to plug in, right, to your equation. If they have something funny where they're involving f's and g's, fgx stands for f of g of x. So you do the g of x first, plug the answer back into the f of x. If they say g f something, you plug the number into your f function first, and then plug that answer back into the g. Sometimes for functions, they give you a function and they ask you to fill in a table. If they do that, the easiest way to do it is to work it out on the calculator. So if you have a calculator, hopefully we'll see if this works. So switch it on. Right. What you do is you press the mode button. The mode button is here. So press the mode button and it will come up computer, stats and table. So you press number 3 for your table and you will get an f of x symbol up on the calculator. Right. You will then enter your function. So for example, if we want 6x squared plus 27x minus 3, right? You would type it in. How you get the x's is you press the alpha button and you press your bracket button. And above it, you can see a little teeny tiny red x. Right? If you want to make that x squared, you just press your normal math symbol so you can square it or cube it or whatever else. So you type that in and you will press equals. It will then come up with start and a question mark. That's asking you, do you want to change your start value? It currently has the start value as 1. So if we want to change it to 0, we could type in 0 and then we press equals. If we wanted to end, this currently says 5, we could end it at 10. Press equals. And going up in steps of 1, again press equals. When you press it, it gives you a table of all your answers and then you can just fill them in to your chart if you got asked it. Okay? So they are functions and they are on paper 1 of your exam. Hopefully that helps.